Days, we can create my card every time.
You're gonna miss less days.
More days.
You're gonna
So
miss
only
more
when
days.
I miss days and I come back, you say thank you. So I'm gonna miss more days when I come back.
So by the way, that maybe you're right. I should say thank you to every single person for coming, because he says that because he didn't come, and then I said, "Wow, you're here." Like he says that, so he's gonna stop coming. He only come once a week. If he only comes once a week, then
Thank you.
then I get a big thank you. What?
You may not get the same reaction as today.
Different reaction. Yeah, you won't get us. Yeah. Anyways, thank you all for coming. Thank you, Shmuel. Please have a seat. Where are you going? Where are you going? Oh, you're going. Okay, you have a seat. Yitzchak. Thanks, Yitzchak. Dan Sadiq, Ruven, David, Yeshua Ephraim. Hi, how are you? Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Today we actually have a very important and special class that we're going to be doing today. And I'm going to explain to you why in a moment. Okay, but before we do so, we have to remind the people that are out there. Okay, yeah, you. I'm talking to you right now. You should right away, before we begin the class, hit subscribe if you're on YouTube and hit the bell so that you're reminded every single time we have a class. Okay? You must do it right now, because once we get into the class, you're going to forget about it. Therefore, click it right now so that you don't forget later. Is that a good piece of advice? Absolutely. Okay? Now, if you're on Facebook, it is important not to be selfish. Okay? You know what selfishness is? Selfishness is when you're like, wow, this rabbi is so awesome and his information is so informative and so enlightening, but I'll keep it all to myself. No, that's selfishness. If you're want to help people, you're like, wow, this is awesome. What you do is you hit share, and not only hit share to your own profile, you start sharing it to every single group. You can share it to WhatsApp, to all the different platforms that exist there. You can share it, and you should share it, and I'm trusting that you will share it. So without further ado, I think we should continue on. Okay, we're just waiting for Dirtball to get into the class. Oh, here he is. Here he is. Dirtball's back. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. Are we on in all the platforms already? Yeah? Okay. Now, I like going on the top over here, because those are the main platforms that we usually see him on. No, up here, on this side, yeah. Yeah, then we see here. All right. Okay. Anyways, we're going to, as I said before, this is a very special class, because this class is really the last class of this current term in this particular format. I'm still considering what we're going to do next week. Okay, really next week we have Sunday. Sunday we're going to have class. I'm not exactly sure what we're going to study in the class. I have to still try to figure out what it is that we're going to study in the class. But definitely we need to... I need to figure out what this class is going to be about Sunday. I don't think we're going to start a new Talmudic passage, because we're not going to have the whole week. You want to do Gemara Eicha?
Yeah, for sure.
Crash course on Rashi and Tosfos.
Crash course on Rashi and Tosfos. That's a good idea. All right, we'll be accepting suggestions all the way up to next class. We will not be accepting suggestions in the next class. And by the way, if any of you guys are watching this, assuming on replays, because at the moment I don't see anybody live, sometimes it takes a couple minutes before they enter. But yeah, let's get some people live over here. Anyways, yes, up until Sunday, the whole weekend you have to give me a suggestion of what you think we should speak about on Sunday, because as I said, Sunday we need to, Sunday we're going to have like a one-off type of class. Okay, Monday we will not be having class, because you're not allowed to learn on Monday, which is the day before Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av. We're not allowed to learn after Chatzos. Now you'll ask me, well, if that's the case, why don't we have morning class? The answer is because myself, as well as most of you, have to learn everything that you're meant to learn on a regular basis before noon, which for me means 2 pages of Gemara plus Chitas and Rambam. For you it might just mean Chitas, for you it might just mean Rambam, but in any case you have to finish all your study. Torah study is not supposed to go after Chatzos. Now after Chatzos, after midday on Monday, We are allowed to study certain things, not about the Beis HaMikdash. We're supposed to be learning about the destruction of the temple and about mourning because it's supposed to be a sad day, Monday afternoon and Tuesday. Tuesday is the 9th of Av. It is the day that the temple was destroyed. And Bezrat Hashem, some people say it's going to be the day the temple will be rebuilt. I think that they're just off by a couple of days. That's it. I think it's going to be a couple of days before Tisha B'Av, which is going to be today. Yeah. Good. Anyways.
Right, so are you allowed
Bezrat Hashem, yes.
Are you supposed to learn the Chitas Rambam for Tisha B'Av also?
You have to, no, Tisha B'Av you could actually you could do it after Tisha B'Av, and some people, I think you could even learn it after Chatzos. I have to check it up. I don't want to tell you 100%.
Is it better to do it before or do it after?
Ask your local rabbi.
Rabbi, is it better to do it before or after?
I'm not sure exactly when we're supposed to do that. Anyways, back to the point is that, yes, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday already we're going on break, and therefore we're going to have to figure something out. If our friend David over here, my producer, right, he gets paid a lot of money for doing this, almost as much as I get paid for doing what I'm doing. A little less. But if he wants to do this next week as well on his break, if he's going to be here, are you going to be here? You are going to be here? So we'll have to do something. We'll actually probably be more interesting. The daily class will be more interesting for those viewers outside of the class because we won't be discussing Talmud. We'll be discussing deep spiritual Kabbalism. Yes, we're going to speak this serious Kabbalistic stuff. We're going to unload it on the people next week once the yeshiva's on break. So we're not going to be teaching the Talmud. We're going to be teaching some of the heavy Kabbalistic stuff that those people out there really want to know about. And also, we should also want to know about it. But we also have to learn the Talmud because the Talmud is essential to Torah study, as you may know or may not know. But it is extremely essential to Torah study. That being said, so today is pretty much the last regular day of Talmud study. Okay? Till the end of the break, which is in about, 3 weeks? Right? So we're going to have about a 3-week break of Talmud study. And in that time, hopefully we'll be studying something else instead. Okay? Good. Now, today, as you know, is Thursday. Thursday, we do not continue on the Talmud that we were learning yesterday. We give a general review. So we were going to give a general review on the entire week's Talmud. You think you got to handle that, Dan Tzaddik? Good. Now, it's going to be a little shorter than usual. Usually this class is 45 minutes to an hour. I'm probably going to limit it to 20 minutes, half an hour max, because I want to give you guys time to review. Right? To review and to read the Talmud in its original language. As I've told you guys in the past, if you really want to understand the Talmud at the depth, you must understand it and read it in its original language. If you do not read it in its original language, you will miss and you will misunderstand the various different logic behind it. You may understand some of it when you have especially an interesting teacher like me that can teach it to you in a way that, okay, you got to understand the Talmudic concepts. All right? Now, but yes, you should learn it in its original language, and that's why we're going to make a shorter class so you can review it and you can read it in its original language. And once we're done, we're going to be calling you guys over, and I want to hear you read it to me in its original language, including my producer over here, David, who I haven't heard in a while because he's been so busy producing all these awesome videos, but he has to study some Talmud on his own as well, right? You go last.
This is the last official Gemara share of YTD.
This is the last full Gemara share of the season until we for about a few weeks until we get back to the other things. Okay. Anyways, I want to remind you that we began studying the concept of muktzeh. Okay, the concept of muktzeh on Shabbos is a prohibition for moving certain objects on Shabbat. Any object that does not have a permissible use on Shabbat may fall into the concept of muktzeh, as we would have learned if we would continue this conversation a little bit deeper. We would learn which objects are and which objects aren't prohibited to move on Shabbat. Okay? So that's that. We started out with saying that you're not allowed to take an object on Shabbat. You're not allowed to take a bowl and put it under a candle to catch the oil that's dripping from the candle. In the olden days, people had these oil candles, and these oil candles used to drip. Okay, today we have wax candles usually, and the wax candles also drip. Okay, but in the olden days, they were oil candles, and they used to also drip a little bit of oil, a little drip, 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 and you're not allowed to put a bowl to catch that oil on Shabbat. That's how we started. We said that if you did catch that oil on Shabbat, you're not allowed to use the oil that you caught. Now, why would you want to use the oil? What would be the reason you want to use the oil that's dripping from a candle?
Put it in baby's face.
You want to put it on a baby's face? Why? Why,
We learned that last Gemara.
why would you put oil on a baby's face?
But doing it says that like 2 pages ago.
It says to put oil on a baby's
You put
face.
your hand to the fire.
We said a baby's face. We said to rub rubbing oil. There was some type of rubbing oil that used to rub babies with. Today you probably use other type of products, creams, etc. But a baby's face, rubbing a baby's face with oil. Sheesh, what's wrong? No, maybe they did. They might have. I might just be over exaggerating over here. All right. So that is the Mishnah. Okay, now the Gemara tries to analyze the Mishnah and understand what on earth is the Mishnah talking about. And the Gemara starts out by bringing a quote from Rav Chisda. Okay, as I mentioned, Rav Chisda was not, Rav Chisda was not arguing or commenting on the Mishnah itself. Rav Chisda was making a independent statement. It was a statement that had nothing to do with anything else. Okay? Rav Chisda's statement was as follows. You are not allowed to put a bowl to catch an egg on Shabbat. Why would you be trying to catch a bowl? Why would you be trying to catch an egg in a bowl on Shabbat? Because it rolled down a hill. A chicken laid the egg on the top of the hill. It rolled down, and you wanted to catch it in the bowl that it shouldn't crack. Okay? That is the reason behind what's going on. Right? Good. Now, does everybody agree that you're not allowed to catch that bowl in that egg? You're not allowed to catch the egg in the bowl? Does everybody agree with that suggestion?
No.
Huh?
No.
Why?
What do you mean, why?
Who disagrees with it?
Rabbi?
No. Good try, but it's just not accurate. What could he tell you? Huh? Rabbi Yosef does not disagree with Rav Chisda. No. Huh? What? Nope, not Rava. Who is the person? What? Nope. Sorry. Who is disagreeing with Rav Chisda? Rabbi Kopel is definitely not disagreeing with Rabbi Yitzchak. Rabbi Yitzchak is all the way, thousands of years ago. I'm not messing with him yet. What? Rabbi Yitzchak. You mean you?
Yeah, me.
You?
I disagree.
You disagree?
Where's Rabbi Yitzchak?
Huh?
Where's Rabbi Yitzchak?
Where's? Okay, so Rav Yitzchak is all the way at the end of the quota. Omar Rav Yitzchak says Rav Yitzchak. Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you miss a class. Unfortunately, you miss the good answer. All right. So again, we have Rav Chisda. Rav Chisda says that you're not allowed to put the bowl to catch the egg on Shabbat. Okay. We have Rav Yitzchak that says you're not allowed to even put a bowl on top of an egg on Shabbat. Okay? Again, Rav Chisda says you're allowed to put the bowl under the egg to catch the rolling egg. Rav Chisda says you are allowed to put a bowl on top of an egg upside down. However, Rav Yitzchak disagrees. He said they're both prohibited. He seems tough, mean. He's prohibiting both of these situations. All right? Good. So we have Rav Chisda versus Rabbi Yitzchak. Now, within Rav Chisda, there is a massive dispute as to what is the reasoning behind Rav Chisda's opinion. There we have a massive dispute between who and who. Let's go to David Berenstein. Huh? There's a massive argument between the Amoraim as to what is the opinion of Rav Chisda. Nope. Nope. Who is arguing as to what is the reasoning behind Rav Chisda?
Abaye and Nachman.
Nope. I'm going to wait, man. I want to hear you come up with the answers.
Repeat the question.
I'm not going to give you the answers myself. You got to figure it out.
Repeat the question one more time.
Okay, again, Rav Chisda said his opinion. There is a massive argument as to what is the reasoning behind his opinion.
Rabbi Yosef.
Okay, and there are two rabbis that are arguing over this. Yeah, who is that?
Rabbi Yosef.
Rabbi and Rabbi Yosef. Very good. Dan Tzaddik is such a tzaddik that he even knows the answer to the question. Good. That's true. So that's, again, remember, I'm reviewing the entire Talmud of this week, and because of this, I am asking you questions that I may have never asked before this week, but if you would understand the Gemara properly, you should be able to understand these questions. Because I want you to think. It's not about me thinking, it's about you thinking, and therefore I have to make sure that you're thinking properly. It's not good enough that I'm thinking properly. Okay? Why are who arguing? Because Jews like to argue, man.
No, but here's the thing. All of the cases that are brought to question both Rabbi and Rabbi
Yeah.
are cases that both are things which are said to be common.
Right.
Also things which not necessarily is the cleave being made, what's it called?
Right. So what's wrong with that? Why
Rabbi and Rabbi Yosef were able to agree. Yosef
agree on
saying,
what?
In addition
No.
to Rabbi saying that
Again, both Rabbi and Rabbi Yosef are arguing on what is the reasoning behind this rule.
they could say there's two reasons.
They could, but they're not.
But Rabbi Yosef doesn't say, like, please Rabbi Yosef is arguing with Rabbi. He just says,
So let me tell you something, Reb Mendel. Okay, when two rabbis say two different reasons, they're arguing. Because if a rabbi felt that there was two reasons, he would have said there's two reasons. The fact that the rabbi said there's only one reason and the other rabbi said there's only one reason is because they're arguing as to what the reason is or isn't. And therefore, Rabbi and Rabbi Yosef are arguing as to what is the reasoning behind this rule. Now, once Rabbi and Rabbi Yosef argue on what's the reasoning behind this particular rule, we now have a challenge. We challenge both of them. Okay? Because in Judaism, no one gets away with something so easily. You know why the Jews, people call us the stubborn Jews? There's a reason they call us the stubborn Jews. You know why? You know why we're called the stubborn Jews? Because we're stubborn. Right?
That's a really
And
deep
just
thought right
because...
there.
No, what's that?
That's a really deep thought.
It is. We're very stubborn people. We're stubborn. All right? Yeah. We're stubborn. What can I tell you? That's just the way we are. Yeah.
Then how come there's a Tosfos which brings that the questioning on Rabbi Yosef includes a case with putting the basket in front of the birds? And Tosfos says that case is not a case where it's preventing something that's common. That's an uncommon scenario. Seemingly Tosfos bringing that is showing that there's a distinction between Rabbi and Rabbi Yosef.
Again, let's. So you want to get into the Tosfos. The Tosfos is like the super advanced stuff. Before you understand the basics, you first need to understand the basics, and you have to understand that Tosfos is dealing with the basics. You have to know if you want to have a fancy apartment, you first have to have a building. You can't make a fancy apartment in the middle of the year and then somehow expect it to stay there. It doesn't work that way. You have to understand. Here's the building. This is how it's built. Okay. Now, once you figure out how the building is built, you can now figure out how the apartment works. And it's the same thing. You have to understand how the Gemara operates, and then you could understand how the Tosfos is interacting with the operation of the Gemara. Okay? So again, that's what I'm trying to give you, the final framework of what's going on in this particular Talmudic piece. Okay? Number one, you have the Mishnah. Number two, you have Rav Chisda. Rav Chisda, there is an argument as to the reasoning of Rav Chisda between the Rabbi and Rav Yosef. They're arguing. Each one is saying this is the reason to the exclusion of all others. Okay? That's an argument. Then we have Rav Yitzchak, who comes in the end, and Rav Yitzchak is arguing with Rav Chisda, which is completely different. Okay, now, in all of these arguments, all of these above arguments, the Gemara brings the exact same reference proofs to try and challenge the validity of all of these opinions. Okay, and it's an attempt to challenge their validity. Why do we challenge their validity? So I want to remind you guys. I know people don't like hearing this. Okay, there's a reason why the Jewish people are the Jewish people. Okay, we're the Jewish people not just because we're stubborn. We're not just stubborn just for the heck of being stubborn. Okay, it sounds, oh, we're just stubborn Jews. Yeah, we are stubborn Jews, but we're not stubborn just for the sake of being stubborn. That's not why we're being stubborn. You know why we're being stubborn? No, we're being stubborn because we want the truth. We want what's real, and we don't want your garbage. Okay, we're not interested in somebody's hiccups and belly aches. Okay, in other nations, they say, wow, he sounds so enthusiastic. He must be telling the truth. He sounds so fun. He sounds so interesting. He sounds so, I don't know what, scary, inspiring, whatever it is. And therefore it should be true. The Jews are like, no, not necessarily. Not necessarily is something true because you like it. Not necessarily is something true because it feels good. It could feel really good and it could be really horrible. I'll give you a simple example. You want a simple example? It's called drugs. You ever take drugs? Yeah. Did it feel good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it good for you?
Yeah.
It was good for you. Okay, then I have no argument. Then what are you doing here? Why don't you just stay on drugs?
I'm on drugs, exactly.
Huh? Oh, you are on drugs. Oh, man. Got a tough crowd here to deal with. Sheesh.
Very example of a discussion is what you're saying.
I need to go tie up.
Yeah.
We could just believe you and go along.
Exactly. Exactly. He challenged me. Because he's Jewish. He's like, Rabbi, maybe drugs are good, man. Maybe they are beneficial to people. Huh? Huh?
I meant more the Gomorrah analysis part, not the drug.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I heard what you say. All right. Anyways, the fact is that there are things in this world that seem really, really cool, really fun, and they're horrible. Okay? And that's why the Jews are stubborn. We want to make sure it's true, and if we don't have accurate proof that it's true, we don't want to accept it as truth. Okay? And that's actually why you'll see around the world there are more Jewish atheists percentage-wise than any other group of people in the world. I'm telling you. Atheism amongst Jews is very high. And the reason for that is because unfortunately they haven't come to my class. That's true.
But now they can because it's
now there's no more excuse to be an atheist. No, but the real thing is that many atheists go around and saying there's no proof that there's a God. Well, first of all, it depends how you define God, but there is proof of a greater reality. Let's just call it that. Okay, there's a proof of an original reality, right? All the concepts that are deeply explained in Judaism actually are logically, have logical proof and logical grounding, and that's the reality. Okay? Now, the problem is that if you decide there is no proof of God, well, how do you prove that? That's the first thing I do to a Jew that's an atheist. I say, you're saying there's no God? Prove that. And he's like, well, prove me there is a God. Well, I'm not arguing that there is a God yet. We didn't get there yet. We'll argue that at some point, but right now, before we begin the argument whether or not I can prove there's a God, tell me could you prove that there's no God? Now, if you're going to tell me that you can prove that there's no God, then okay, well, once you prove there's no God, there's nothing else to argue with. Now, if you're going to tell me I do not have proof that there's no God, well then okay, so then don't be an atheist. You want to be what's called an agnostic? You want to be an agnostic? Okay, you want to be agnostic. That's, by the way, I think it's fair. If somebody wants to tell me that they are a rational, logical thinker and they're agnostic, I could accept that. If you want to tell me you're a logical, rational thinker and atheist, that is complete, it's a complete bag of garbage. Okay? I don't want to use foul language in the class, by the way, or on film. but yes. And by the way, I've had this discussion, and many atheists will say, yeah, but what is atheism? It means that you're not sure if there's a God or not. That's actually not true. Look at the definition, sir. Excuse me. Look at the definition of atheist in a dictionary. The definition of an atheist is somebody that believes there is no God. Zell. Go look it up. You're going to look it up. This guy's looking it up on the phone. Go ahead. You'll see. The definition of atheism is somebody that believes there is no God or no greater reality, and that is truth. That is fact.
It's garbage.
Okay, and that is not rational. That is a religious position. I hate telling the atheists. The thing that gets atheists, the thing that gets atheists the most angry is when you call them religious. By the way, they hate it. As a matter of fact, my biggest post. You guys know that I post on Facebook. I post questions on Facebook. You can go there. You can see people try to answer it. My most popular question on Facebook ever. Listen to this. My most popular question ever was, why are atheists offended when you insult their religion? And I'm telling you, the thing lit up. That boom, boom, boom. All the atheists came out of the woodworks, and they're like, blah, 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 blah. and I had to stop posting it because they just kept on reporting me. I was going to like this. Facebook was going to shut me down because they don't even care, by the way. The atheists did not care about the argument. They're like, I don't care what this rabbi says. If he suggested that I'm religious as an atheist, he got to be banned. It's mamish like the terrorists. Like I don't want to say exactly like the terrorists, but they're not killing people. But at least in concept, they're willing to destroy innocent people that are willing to suggest that atheism is a religion. They are willing to do whatever they could. They'll shut down their business. Maybe they won't kill them. Maybe they're not like maybe not yet. They're not yet like. By the way, I want to point out, I don't want to get too scary over here, but there were atheists that actually killed people over this, and it was called communism. Communism was a government built on the atheistic structure, and they killed people who wanted to spread religion. So to suggest that atheists never became violent against people that of religion, it's actually a historic fallacy because they actually did.
Napoleon also, no?
I don't know about Napoleon, but I know the communist regime killed over 100 million people. The communist regime killed. Many of them were over religion. Even now in China, there's a whole battle with what are these guys called? The Uyghurs. Uyghurs.
The Communist Party, they killed millions of people, the Tibetans.
Yeah, the Tibetans, they kicked out of their place, Muslims. Yeah, here is an example of atheism being a radical religion to the point where anybody that disagrees with them, they're even willing to kill them if they have a government. Now, the fact is in America, the government is not officially atheist. It's freedom of religion. You have the freedom, you have the rights, right? In most Western countries, you have the right to be religious, you have the right not to be religious, right? But in governments that were officially atheists, we saw horrible, how should I say it? Cruelty and persecution against people of faith. The Nazis, a lot of people want to suggest the Nazis were somewhat religious, but if you really look at them, they were called, the Nazis was it was the National Socialist Party. It was a socialist party, and socialism, communism, and atheism go hand in hand in most cases. There may be a few exceptions, but usually you will find people that are communists, socialists, are usually tilting toward the atheistic scale.
What does socialist actually mean?
Socialist basically means they want to have like organized, economy where control, where people, everybody, there's no poor and there's no rich, basically. Again, I'm not here to explain socialism, and I have no right to do so because that's not really my forte. But yeah, I'm gonna in big trouble, by the way. If atheists actually watch this video on YouTube, I'm gonna have problems, man. Right? They're gonna try to shut me down. They're gonna try to, right? Let's see. How about this? I'm gonna challenge you atheists out there. Any of you atheists that are actually, you're actually honest with yourself, right? Don't try to shut me down. Try to argue with me in the comments. I'm happy to go at it. That's what we do. We're Jewish. We argue. That's what we do, right? Yeah. Atheist challenge? No. What's that?
I'm assuming atheists looking for Talmudic studies and Talmudic.
Yeah, there's not too many atheists that are looking for Talmudic studies videos. Okay, you're right. All right. Anyways, yes, I don't know how we got derailed on that concept. Yes. Anyways, but what I was going to say is that there is absolute proof, logical proof that there is godliness in this world in some form. Now the thing is many religions, they want to come and they want to define what God is, and very often those definitions are in fact 100% false and provable false. Okay? What? Wrong. You want me to say wrong? Does he like to say wrong? Anyways, let's continue. Yeah? Good. So we got the point here. Okay? There's Rav Chisda versus Rabbi Yitzchak. Okay, now under the column of Rav Chisda, we have Rabbi and Rabbi Yosef, right? Now under all three, meaning under Rabbi and Rabbi Yosef, under Rabbi and Rabbi Yosef, and under Rav Chisda, and under Rabbi Yitzchak, all of the above were challenged with a whole list of challenges as you read over here. Okay? Now, you read the challenges and you see how they are debunked, one by one. Okay? Make sense? Good. Now, by the way, we have a Zoe Don Anderson, as Baruch Hashem, he's being very involved in the class. We want to thank you for joining, and I hope you share our class with all your friends and get more people on here, etc. Yeah. Oh, Isaac Shohet. Shohet.
We seem to be saying some really clever things.
Huh?
It's Isaac Shohet guy seems to be saying some really cool things.
Yeah, really cool things. All right. Anyways, by the way, if you would like to ask a question, if you would like to make a comment, just put it in your comment. I am on numerous platforms at the moment, but all those platforms are being brought to me in front of my face in the computer. So if you ask a question, if you make a comment, I will see it, and if it is something that I feel is appropriate to mention in class, I will mention it in class, and I'll give you a shout out. You see that? You get to get a shout out all the way from the holy city of Tzfat in northern Israel, where we are currently located in a war zone. Sounds scary. I'm not so scared, and neither is everybody here. That's why they're here. But yesterday was scary. Yes, that's right. We did have a missile fired at us right here in Tzfat, and we got to watch them knock it out the sky from the missile. We actually saw a bit of a fireworks show on top of our houses, right? It was a bit scary. You weren't here? You slept through the whole thing. You were underground. Where were you? Oh, at the gym. Okay, you were underground. You were protected, etc. Anyways, if anybody wants to experience what it's like to get shot at by a missile, you should please come visit our class, and you get to see this class live. And every once in a while, when Hezbollah decides to send us a missile, you get to experience that as well, right? Good. Anyways. I think that's it for now, right? We covered everything. I want you guys to go and spend some time reviewing and researching the ideas that we had. Please, this Isaac Shohet just bombing us with I don't know what. It's enough. We don't need so much. And then, if anybody, by the way, online or in the class has a question, because we're at the end of the class. At the end of the class, we give you guys a chance to ask any interesting question you want to bring up, and I will attempt to answer it if I think I know the answer. If I don't think I know the answer, I'm telling you I won't answer you, okay? Or I'll just say I don't know the answer. But if I do know the answer, or if I think I know the answer, I will attempt to answer the question to the best of my ability. The way to ask a question is very simple. Just ask the question in the comments, and I will attempt to answer that question as soon as I get it, obviously in order of when they come in. Dan Sadiq had a question. Yes?
After the break, will we continue with Shabbos?
No, after the break we will be learning a different tractate of Talmud, etc. Yes, we will. Kacha, that's the way we do it. We like mixing things up. We like mixing things up. Yes, it's going to be Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah, because it's going to be just before the New Year, so we're going to be discussing Rosh Hashanah. All right, any other questions? Once again, we're open right now. We've finished the class, and we're open for any question that you want to ask. If you want to ask a question, just type it into the comment. Just put a comment, and I'll get it. And if it comes through while we're still in a live class, I will attempt to answer it online. Yes, what was your question?
Do we have a schedule Monday, Tuesday? Like
So Monday and Tuesday, we're not really going to have much of a schedule. The Tuesday is a fast of the 9th of Av, and so we will be fasting, and there's a lot to do as part of the regular ritualistic program, like Shachris, Kinnis, reading of the Torah. There's a lot to do, so we're going to be doing a lot of the regular stuff, but there's not going to be actual classes on Monday. Sunday, we will be having a class. I'm still yet to decide what the class should be on, and if anybody would like to give me suggestions on what the class on Sunday should be, I'm happy to hear your suggestions. Anybody online could just put a comment, and that will be the suggestion. I do read your comments, even though I don't always reply. I do reply if I feel that I should, but I don't always reply, but I always read the comments. So if you want to tell me something, please put it in the comments, and I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. Any other questions, by the way? This is your chance to try to type in a question into the screen, and I will do this. What's that? No. Anyone else? Final questions. We're going to count down. It's so interesting how we have most of our watchers are coming now that we are about to finish the class. Thank you for coming. We appreciate having you. We're about to finish the class. If you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell immediately. Okay, if you want to ask a question, you have a few more seconds to type a comment with your question, and only then will I see it. And once I see it, I will try to answer the question. We have a Zoe Don Anderson says, nothing from me, cheerio from London, right? Cheerio back from Israel. Okay, cheerio. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. Anyone else? Last chance. Put in your questions, comments. Last chance, and then we're going to go to our study here without the video, etc. Okay? Anyone? 5, 4. You want to have a question? You want to end it? What do you want to end it for? All right, he wants to press.